The student, the athlete, the culture. Welcome back, everyone, to the second series of Moses Squared podcast. We hope you enjoyed our last episode. We are now streaming episodes on Apple Podcasts, so make sure you subscribe to our channel as well as YouTube and Instagram and leave a review. Now, let's get into episode 12, Quarantine with the Siblings.
Welcome back to Moses Squared podcast. We appreciate you guys listening to another episode. I'm here with my beautiful sister, my talented sister, and we have a special guest. My older, beautiful, talented sister, Shaina Moses, is here with us today. So it looks like it's going to be Moses Cubed for all our mathematicians.
Moses Cubed, yes.
Hello.
What's up, Shay?
My name is Shaina. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, introduce yourself a little bit. Tell them a little bit about you.
I am the oldest of the three.
Had to get that in there.
Right. I am wisdom. No, but I went to school at North Carolina A&T down in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I graduated accounting degree, and I went on to do accounting for 10 years. And now I am venturing out into real estate investment arena, and I'm just here to join my siblings, and hopefully I can plug in a little food for thought while we're here.
Yeah, clap it up. I wish I had my buzzer.
I know.
We need to turn this to IG Live. Niggas, Tory Lane's quarantine radio.
Tory Lane's clapping.
Yeah, clap it up. For sure. No, that's awesome. We wanted to invite her on today. Me and Lauren get on, obviously, every week with you guys, but we wanted to invite our older sister, who we looked up to growing up, and just let you know a little more perspective about our family, our upbringing, things we've been through, because we all experienced a little bit different journeys and even experiences, so we've taken away a lot of different things. We all think for ourselves and think very differently, but nonetheless, we want to make sure, we just bring it in, get Big Sis going.
And I think it's important that we brought her in on this episode specifically just because everyone's kind of stuck inside, stuck with their family members, and unfortunately, now you two live in the same state, but I live in a different state now. So I thought it would be a good time for us to all come together, talk about, the different people who are affected by the coronavirus, which is keeping us all inside. And so just to talk a little bit about the coronavirus, we don't want to bog you down with the numbers, and we don't really want to watch the numbers so much. But I do think it's important to talk about how many people have lost their lives due to this virus. And in the U.S. right now, it's 25,794 people have lost their lives. And we are leading the world in all countries with the cases, total cases. China is now 7th on the list. And, that's, where it supposedly started. So, we just want to think about, keep all the families in mind. A athlete whose parent just passed away, Carl Towns Anthony. He played at Kentucky. He's now in the NBA. He just lost his mother to the coronavirus. And there's been a plethora of, people that I know that I went to college with and even high school with who have lost their family members to this virus. And so we just want to keep our thoughts and our prayers with them during this time. Even my roommate's sister, she has it. She works in a hospital, and obviously she's an essential worker. And so that's her job, to be in the hospital and to care for people.
Wow.
And so she now has it as well. And so, we really just want to be thoughtful during this time and really keep ourselves away from people, be safe as possible.
Stay in the house.
Stay at home. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, please. And wash your hands and cover. Keep 6 feet. 6 feet.
Yep. Follow all the
100%.
CDC rules, for real, guys.
Yeah, I think it's essential, and you hit it on the head, Lauren. And I'm going to ask Shaina this. What are some of the things that you're doing besides the obvious quarantining and staying away from folks to keep these germs suppressed and to try and stay healthy? What are some of the things that you're implementing?
I'm really big on wiping down everything, even if I have to go to the grocery store, which is one of the essentials that you can leave home for. I'm actually wiping down things you wouldn't think of. Like if I buy a bag of chips, I'm wiping down my bag with my Clorox wipes. I'm making sure I clean my fruit really well because people can go in there and test the fruit. I'm just really big on wiping things down. I'm now, wiping down doorknobs every time I go in and out of the house.
Yeah.
And also, even like for my couch and stuff, I have a disinfectant that's like 99.9%
Yeah.
disinfectant. So I spray down my couch. So even if you're wearing your clothes outside, if people are coughing or anything like that, or you come in contact
Mm-hmm.
with people, you want to try to disinfect your home as much as possible and definitely make sure that that's your safe place.
Yeah.
When you are there, when I go out in the streets, I now wear a mask on a regular. And I make sure I used to eat in my car a lot because I drove for so long doing my
Mm-hmm.
work. So I got really comfortable with eating in the car. I actually now don't eat in my car at all because I'm like, I can't put my hands,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
may have
Yeah.
touched something, and then put that in my mouth. So I just,
Mm,
you know, I'm trying to cook home more actually now, just because I feel better and safer about that. So I'm just taking
mm-hmm.
these extra
Yeah.
steps just to try to make sure that I don't come in contact with the virus as much as possible.
Yeah, and that's important. While we're on this note, I also like to send a special shout out, rest in peace, to a brother from Willingboro, New Jersey, who lost his life to corona this week. Cleveland Lacey
Mm.
went to my high school, and his mother worked with Shaina, and what we talked about his heritage plays, and just part of the culture where I'm from, the music culture, the black culture, the community, the sports. I mean, it's just if you're from Willingboro, New Jersey, you know this family, and it's just very moving. It really hits home for me just to put this all in perspective. It is real, and I'm one to joke and with the conspiracy theories and whatnot. But when something like this happens, it definitely hits home for me. It makes me realize this is life. It's precious, and A, we got to keep ourselves home safe, keep our families home safe, and B, we got to try to grow in this space while we can. So, with that, changing lanes, while you ladies have been quarantined, what's your top go to enjoy your time to get some entertainment?
Um,
Is it the IG lives?
I mean, there's a
What's
lot
going on?
going on. There's a lot going on. But before we even move to that, you talked about the black communities, and I wanted to make sure that we
Yeah,
mention how this is impacting the black communities right now.
for
Because, like
sure.
we said, Willingboro, New Jersey, where we all lived at one point in our lives, is majority black communities, and a lot of these places are overcrowded. A lot of these places, the housing facilities, they just a lot of them just keep black people and people of color out of these suburbs. They have limited access to health care. They're underfunded. And so we really just want to make sure that
Right.
the people who are in those spaces are really staying home, because unfortunately the system is set up against you. And so you really have to be smart during these times, and even discriminating hiring practices. I mean, we haven't, I will say, over time that has obviously gotten better, and I think a lot of places are trying to diversify, trying to hit their quota or whatever you want to call it. But even the people who have to work right now, in the grocery stores, or in the at CVS where you get your prescription. A lot of these people may not have access to healthcare. And so just making sure that even those
Right.
people are doing what they need to do when they're at work, cleaning off the registers, cleaning off anything that people may be touching on a daily or even, hourly basis, so that people who are coming in there to get the necessities are staying safe. But we don't want to harp on the negatives.
Yeah.
And I also want to just say a point too.
Yeah,
As we know, African Americans have a higher rate of other diseases that they deal
of
with,
course.
like
Yeah.
hypertension and heart disease. So those having those ailments already only make
Mm-hmm.
this virus worse in your system. So my
Yeah.
friend,
For
she
sure.
works in the ICU. She's seeing, once you're on a respirator, she said she's only had one person recover from the respirator. And she said it's very difficult to see that every day, people coming in and they're not leaving with their families.
Yeah.
So if
Right.
you're already ill, try to stay at home much as possible, because if you have family members that can drop off food at the front door for you, have that, because you don't want to go out there and put yourself at risk when you already have other ailments that you're dealing with, because this disease will just latch onto it and
Yeah.
spread throughout your body.
Well,
Yeah.
secondly, you have to consider as well too. This is America, and it's the land of the free, but it's not the land of the equal per se. So I always, take into account too how they treat certain people and what groups and what hospitals and what zip codes get certain things and supplies, and
Yep.
who is considered essential to life and who's considered a little less valuable. You know, so
Yeah.
if you don't take that into account, even if with our history, which I'm not going to go into, you'd be fooling yourself. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, my people, all people, stay safe. Take care of your families. You know, this is a trying time for everybody. You know, it's different because we're so used to hustle and bustling as Americans. You know, we're always on the move. It's always something to do, and this has been a time where you have to sit still and self-reflect. And additionally, you know, it's a lot of things that entertain us. One of those things being super popular that we've been talking about all week is Instagram and
IG
and the
Live.
parties,
IG
quarantine,
Live.
IG lives,
Quarantine radio.
Diddy Radio.
Yes, there has been a lot to keep us entertained. You are 100% correct. And this past Easter Sunday, P. Diddy, Puff, Love, whoever you want to call him, he did his thing. He put on a dance-a-thon on IG Live, which I thought was an amazing concept. You know, obviously, like we said, so many people have been on IG Live trying to keep everyone's spirits up. And so he just, you know, found a way, use power of influence, his power in the community, the Black community, the musical community, to raise money for healthcare workers. And it seemed like it was for healthcare workers, but he kept saying essential workers too. And so I wasn't 100% sure, but he has this teamlove.com where people can donate money so that these people in underrepresented and underserved communities can receive the right resources that they have. And so there have been some talks about Diddy's dance-a-thon, the people that came on and off. What were your thoughts about that?
Who was on there? Give us some names.
So they had, who do they have up there? They had LeBron, they had Lizzo, they had Gabrielle Union, Dwayne Wade, they had, who else? Why am I?
Drea Michelle.
They had
We the
Drea
best.
Michelle. They had DJ Khaled. They also had Tom Hanks' wife on there. I can't remember her full name right now, but they both had coronavirus, and she just talked about her journey through it all and how she was feeling a lot better, and she's fully recovered, thankfully. But there was some controversy on the other end with some twerking and some foul language in the music.
Yeah. Well, I think there was a little bit of a debate there because I read some comments. You know how Diddy is. You know, he and his family, they love to party. So there was a video that was, you know, Drea Michelle on, who's more of a petite model. She was twerking and nobody stopped her. You know, nothing was really said. Next on was Lizzo, you know, and she was kind of doing a similar move.
I think
and Diddy
Lizzo
stopped
was
the
first.
whole show.
Lizzo was first, then Drea Michelle came on.
Oh, okay. I saw it in other order, but nonetheless, Diddy kind of stopped the show and said, let's keep it family based. It was the music he kind of referred to, but as we've seen throughout the, few days, there's been some inappropriate music that hasn't stopped the show. So
Yeah.
what do you think was the real cause or problem or issue surrounding, and we'll just say plus size versus petite being considered appropriate versus inappropriate?
Okay, so this is a good
Shaina.
thing to learn.
What's that?
Because I actually only saw the clip with Lizzo.
Okay.
So I was like, yes, thank you, Diddy, for stopping the twerking. Like, we don't have to twerk all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I
Right.
love a good twerk too, you know, at home with my friends or whatever, maybe in the club here and there. But I don't think you always have to twerk. And I get it.
Right.
It's like a dance move, but I saw that as like more like a family friendly. He got all his kids in the background, you know? So I was like, okay, now with the other young lady coming through, finding that out, and that she's twerking and it wasn't addressed as well, it leads to some questions.
For sure,
Right,
for
right.
sure.
And-
And it's not the first time that that's happened to Lizzo. Like, people have always been bashing her for the past few months about her twerking, or, she doesn't really have clothes on in some pictures and things like that. But the way I perceived, at least the Lizzo video, I didn't see the Drea Michelle until after the fact. When I first saw the Lizzo video, I did hear like a specific part of the song that had, some inappropriate words, and it wasn't just a curse word. It was actually like a part of someone's body.
Got you.
That was mentioned in that part of the song is when he was like, oh, maybe we should keep it family friendly. And so even at that time, I think Lizzo was like, oh, I'm sorry. I think she was thinking like maybe she shouldn't be twerking. But like you said, Shaina, Easter Sunday, dance-a-thon with the family. I don't understand why you couldn't find another move to do.
Like, show me some new moves.
Like, show us a new move.
Yes.
We have all these
We got all the videos
trillers
and
TikToks and all the, like, there was something that could have been done other than sticking your butt out and deciding to twerk.
You could have hit the.
But I think it should go both ways. I think that's just a society thing. You know, size is a big deal for people.
Yeah.
There's so many things behind it. People think you're unhealthy. People think you're lazy or whatever it might be. Or some people just aren't attracted. A lot of people just aren't attracted to it, right?
Yeah.
So they are disgusted by it, or they're just turned off. So they just don't want to see it. Therefore, they'll make it an issue to address it versus when the other young lady did it, it should have been addressed there too. This is Family Sunday. You got a nice body, cute. That's okay, but we don't care today.
Yeah.
Because it's about the people.
And the piggyback, Dre was it was much more fun. I mean, Lizzo was being sexual. I mean, her butt, it was the only thing you could see in the camera.
Yeah.
Dre was standing on.
It was a little bit more friendly. It was. Yeah, I will say that.
Classy. It was more of like a dance, and I'm not excusing it by any means because I don't think everybody has that feeling as far as disgust or think these. I mean, there's some people that are attracted to it, but then there's a sexual level and intensity of things. It's like she is a big girl. She's not ugly. She's not unattractive.
Right.
She's not unattractive by any means, and nothing. Everybody got different flavors, and I seen some of the comments that was like, "Yo, Lizzo, yeah, turn it up, like yes sir, I'm here for it. I give it a," you know what I'm saying. So it wasn't all, but it was still at the same time that some of the sentiment was like, "Yo, it was kids watching, like, you are a woman, and you were very close to the screen, like, and some things are just more suggestive than others, but nonetheless, I think the moral of the story for me, being a father, having a daughter, a baby girl, it's like there's ways to be attractive, to be sexy without having to shake your body parts or show your body parts. Intellectually you can attract folks even with your, even in clothes, they can see your silhouette. You don't have to be naked for men to, you know.
And one part of the dance-a-thon that I think my favorite part of it, other than the dancing, was the fact that multiple people, the majority of the people that came on there, Diddy did a really good job of pointing out, what not only what they're famous for, but really what he wants his kids to, admire in these people. There were multiple people up there. They, Kris Jenner came on, Kylie Jenner came on, and they didn't talk about, how close their family is or how much money they have, but really their drive. Even with their background of success that they already have, it's really like, creating this person or having this person in front of you, having so many different ways of multiple streams of income and seeing how they grind in silence. And that's what he pointed out to Kylie Jenner. But even Gabrielle Union and her motherhood, and just picking out different ways how people are really doing a really good job of using their power of influence to influence the next generation, that had nothing to do with dance. And even Ciara and Russell Wilson came on there. P. Diddy asked for the prayer because that there's a secret prayer between Ciara and Russell Wilson. And I think it was a really good way to bring in Easter Sunday when you may not have been around your family at the time.
Or church,
Church, yeah.
It's still spiritual, Yeah. And I know Russell, more speaking Russell and Ciara in the prayer. And, I seen a different interview with Russell and Ciara when they were talking with Lala Anthony, Carmelo's wife.
I did see that too,
And, Russell kind of intervened and said, y'all keep asking her about her prayer, but what about mine? You know what I'm saying? He like, I've been praying for this woman, you feel me? And she done hit all 4 marks of what I need. And it's just like, I love this time because we get that perspective of some of our idols who we haven't seen before and hear about some of the trials and things they've gone through. Yeah. So it's cool to see, how they attack certain things in their mindset, with certain things. I've enjoyed it. I think it's kind of a slippery slope because as much as I love social media, I think it's also very addictive. I was like, I get into certain points, I'm like, I find myself just instinctively getting right into my Instagram or Facebook. As soon as I open my phone, I'm like, I don't even look. I didn't even
mean to do this.
I just left off of this deal. But especially in this time because we're creating new habits, and we have to be careful of the ones we create because it takes a while to break them as well.
And it's such a good time to reflect. And obviously, the past month has been a time where we've been inside and trying to do that. And so, my question for either one of you, but Shay, you can go first.
Yeah.
What are some of the changes? Obviously, time of change, right? We went from being on the go, on the go, on the go to being kind of stuck and sitting down for a little bit. So, when you're dealing with adversity or sudden change, like what's your
Sudden
focus
change.
type of thing, or how has it changed from when you were in college, from when you got out of college, and even to now? Because obviously we don't stay the same. We continue to grow. We may have some setbacks in life, but what do you think the best way to kind of deal with adversity and sudden change could be?
For me, yes, I've been through a lot of changes. I've also moved a lot, so I'm always
Yeah.
dealing with that change. I think for me is trying to find the positive in it. Why did you make that step? Why you're going forward? Realize that you are going forward and that you will learn something in that phase. There's always growing pains, so you just have to live with that part, but not try to dwell on it. So yeah, I just say to, write, journal. Okay, what are my goals? Did we reach some of those goals today, or did we work towards those? As well as seeing that this is a good change for me. Even though I may not be able to see that it's a good change, like something like this, we can't see that this is good for us, right?
Yeah.
We feel like this is a burden, but I think that there is some good because, like yourself, I saw you're taking some training online. We have trainers on social media that are giving out free classes and dance classes, and people are being more innovative with ways to keep themselves entertained, and new ways to work. So companies are even having to think about how can we still get our employees productive? How can we still bring in cash flow,
Yeah.
so that we are making money? So yeah, I definitely think there's different ways that you can approach it.
Yeah. No, and I'm totally with you. Me, I'm more of a the analytic type, so I always evaluate things. A, what the heck's going on? How much of it's real? How much of it's propaganda? But like you said, I always see the bright side of things. First off, there's less folks in the way out there. You know what I'm saying? The streets is clear. Folks ain't in the way. But secondly, I always take things as a challenge. Boom, we're in a economic crisis. You want to say? Can we get money in a drought? I try to challenge myself to that. Can I still build my company in a drought? Can I still perform? Can we still get after it? How much freedom? How much control do I have? How much do I need to reanalyze what we're doing? Are we dependent? So I just think about a lot of different things, but nonetheless, I think this is a great time to just grow as an individual, whoever you are, whether you're a singer, whether you're an artist, whether you're an entertainer, comedian. Right now is the time to take your game, whatever it is, to the next level. And if you don't use this time wisely, it'll be time lost. And time's one commodity we can never get back. Money, you can make it back.
Yeah.
Friends, you can make them back. Husbands, you can get new ones. It's like time we can't get it back. You'll never get younger. So we have to attack each moment with ferocity and with that focus in order to elevate to the next level. And that might just be the Mamba mentality, but we always talk about cool.
R.I.P. Kobe Bryant. Even Shaina, we were talking about it a little bit earlier. Like during adversity and sudden change, obviously there's a lot of worry in our heads and our hearts, and turning to, obviously our family is religious and we believe in God and Jesus Christ, and turning to them in times where, we may not know what's next. And so how do you think we can inspire each other as a family? Because, right now we need to bond closer more than ever. Not even just us three on this call, but our family, our parents, our grandparents, our even our friends. Some of our friends we call family, we call sister, we call brother. How can we kind of inspire them to prepare and to deal with not just this type of adversity, but any adversity that they may go through in the future?
So for me, I like you said, I am God fearing. I believe in Jesus Christ as my savior. And so for me, I really depend on him when I do go through crisis and things like this. And even when things are good, I still want to keep my eye on him and, read the Bible. I think that's really important. I think it's important to kind of see like other people have gone through these same, they call them famines, or these same virus breakouts and or changes in their life and how they dealt with them. It's good to kind of look at that history and see that, okay, I can come out of this too. I have my
Yeah.
faith. I believe in God that He'll bring me through this, and He's also given me some tools to kind of work through that. So that's how I really encourage myself to come out of those low places, even when it comes with your emotions. Sometimes your emotions are highly affected by these changes that happen, and you need that to kind of give you that boost, that comfort in those times of hard time, trial, and change.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm more calculated. I like to move. And when I say move, I mean literally move. I try and create small steps. So if I have a goal, I'll try to create sub goals down to literally a step so that I know that I'm making some sort of progress, even if it's not great.
Yeah.
Even if it's small, minuscule, I want to make sure I make a movement because I know one thing that, about progression is you can't make any if you don't move.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, whether it's economic depression, actual depression, it starts with dumbing it down, to create a small movement. Let me just succeed. Then let me stack these successes. Now, looking back 10 days, I've accomplished 10 things that I did in 10 days. Now that gives me more momentum and confidence to move forward. The mind is a tricky thing. You almost got to play with it, raise it, nurture it, know. And that's what I try to focus on in these times because you can worry yourself to death easily, and especially in this time with the uncertainties, the unknowns. But, if you have a plan and you have a goal, but you execute your plan, no matter the time, the frame, you can make things happen. So that's what I try to lean on, that the wisdom and the strength from God. That's what I pray on every morning. Lord, I know today's going to be difficult. I don't expect anything less, but give me the strength, give me the wisdom, and that's how we move.
For sure. So we just want to almost done, guys. We're almost done. I know it's probably going to be a longer episode than we usually have, but we just want to say thank you so much to our big sis, Shaina Nicole, for coming on today and dropping some wise. Was that from your mouth?
That was a mouth-made horn.
Yeah, no, we want to thank you so much for coming on and dropping some wisdom, and sharing some of the vibes that we have over here on Moses Squared today, Moses Cubed. And yeah, we're gonna move on to some NFL.
Yeah, my bread and butter.
Yeah,
there's been a lot of movement this past week.
There is.
We've had a number of moves around the NFL. It seems like such a small topic right now, especially with everything going on.
And usually it would be the total opposite.
Oh my God, be the talk of the town.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's been really cool just to see even the NFL players interact. They've been doing a lot of virtual interviews on ESPN and things like that because they're not training in the facilities with their teams right now. And I think one of the ones that I watched recently was an interview with Drew Brees, and their final question of the interview was talking about him and Tom Brady being in the same conference this year. So my question to you is, how huge is that? How entertaining is that? And what does that look like for fans?
Well, first off, you're talking about two GOATs. I got a chance to spend some time around the great Drew Brees, who I have a ton of respect for. And I always tell this story because, and it's super quick, when I was at Tulane, these guys had a lockout when I was still in college. Drew Brees organized the workouts. He arranged for rookies who hadn't signed yet, had no money, to come, hotel, stay, food, meals, while dropping off nuggets to us young college kids who basically shadowed him around while shooting a commercial, a Gillette commercial in our actual locker room. And you can check the facts on that.
Wow.
Just show me the type of person he is. Not only, the organization, the focus, the hard work, but the love and the time. He still was a genuine person in passing. Not so busy that he couldn't give you a moment of love and a moment of. So that was the thing that
ghost
resonated.
Status. That's real ghost status right there. Yeah.
Ghost status. I mean, he had a team of 4 or 5 guys trailing him.
Yeah.
Legit guys that worked for him. But nonetheless, man, he's a Hall of Famer. One of the top 5. I would say top 5, top 10 overall quarterbacks for all time. And I've spoken and stories and waves about Mr. Thomas Brady. You know, he's one of the best. You know, this will be a matchup here this year. I think that'll make a little bit of history. You know, for each of them, it'll have a stain on their career, and you know, it'll be a special one. Seeing these guys match up twice a year,
Yeah,
I'm looking
that's
forward
awesome.
to it, man.
That's awesome.
That
And
division's in the air.
it is for sure. And I mean, I think a lot is going to be in the air. We have a lot of, or not a lot, but we have a few free agents who are injured. And so some of, you know, they're signed and have contracts, but, you know, their future this season. And I mean, honestly, the season's future is really still up in the air. The indoor football league has been canceled. NFL, you know, they're saying we're on track. We're going to keep it going no matter what.
XFL.
Yeah.
XFL just got canceled altogether.
Oh, did it? Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they
did
shut
indoor.
down.
Yep. So out of, you know, there's 100 and plus top free agents. Who do you think, you know, has the most to prove this season?
That's a tough question. There's some guys out there who actually lost their job. You know, the young man from Tampa Bay, he has some off the field issues. Nonetheless, he's a good quarterback. You know, he got his job taken by Tom Brady, you know, which is which happens, but nonetheless, I think he has a lot to prove because he has been a starter since he came into the league.
Yeah.
And he just has to continue to show people his maturation level and what he can bring because he has a lot of natural physical ability, but he needs to be more of a leader, especially when it comes to, you know, organization, because when you're a quarterback, naturally you're the face of the team, of the organization.
Yeah.
It just comes hand in hand. So he's one of the guys. You know, I'm still anxious to see what the Chiefs do. I seen they just signed a punter, and this may seem very silly, but obviously I have a little slight to Kansas City. You know, my guy's been there a long time, punter, 15, 16, 17 years. I don't know how long it's been, but I hope they just don't forget about my guy.
Yeah.
It's still tough to speak on sports right now because it seems like such a small part of our world.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you know, I still look forward to the game once we do come out of this, and hopefully things don't change
Yeah.
majorly over the course. I mean, imagine having games moving forward without fans. You know, imagine the
I'd
energy
rather
or
not.
the lack of.
I'd rather not, because as a
Please.
former athlete, like I literally cannot imagine playing on a court or playing on a field and having no one in the stands. Like that's a huge part of the game. That's a huge part of competition. And I think that it could really change, you know, athletics for a while.
100%. And I know for sure because I went to the University of Iowa where there were 76. I'll never forget the first day I came out. 76 crazed, drunk college students, you know, cheering.
Yeah.
Brought hairs up the back of my neck. And then I remember coming out at, you know, in the Superdome at Tulane, and there were about 1,500. I mean, it felt like people there.
Yeah.
And I
exactly.
could holler over to the other side of the end zone, you know. So it just didn't have that feel. It's hard to build that passion. Fans are a great part of the sport. You know, they're an essential. Not only do they bring that energy to the players, they let you know what's at stake. You know, they're not screaming for nothing. So that's just part of the game, and I pray that, you know, things do go back to normal when we get out. But nonetheless, we have to speak on it. Just a lot of moving parts, though. But nonetheless, the NFL, they still have things going. They're insinuating things will go.
And as a Maryland resident, you know, the Baltimore Ravens, they had a hot year last season, you know? They had a hot year last season. What do you think they need to do, or who they need to get back to where they were this past season and make it to the Super Bowl? You know, everyone had high hopes there at the end of the season that they would be the other team there, but I mean,
they made some solid signings this offseason. They signed Khalil Campbell, who is a prolific. I mean, this cat's, no lie, he's about 38 years old, 6'8", and is still playing at an all-pro level. I mean, he's a grown man if you've ever seen one. So he's going to be one of those guys, I think, that come in and not only add that value on the field, but he's going to give you a leader in the locker room. He's going to show these young guys how to work, how to be a professional and handle their diet and you know, all of that stuff, which is invaluable. So I think that the Ravens are in a great space. Whenever you can run the ball, you have good tight ends. You know, they have a recipe that they put together that I see success for a long time.
And when you have a Mike Vick-like quarterback, by the way.
Yeah. No. Don't say that man's name. Lamar Jackson. He ain't like nobody, boy.
That's true.
He's
That's
special.
true. He is very
He's
special. But talking about some of the leagues that are still up in the air, the WNBA is one of them. And they have their draft coming up on this Friday. And it's going to be virtual. So it's going to be very, very different, a virtual draft. But I just wanted to bring this up because one of my old teammates, who's a Jersey girl, is a prospect, and I am so excited. Her name is Jocelyn Willoughby. She's from West Orange, North Jersey. But yeah, no, she has been a great teammate, and she was one of the best leading ACC scorer this past season. She graduated with her bachelor's degree in 3 years, and she's currently working on her second degree, and she plans to take a break to play in the WNBA in hopes that she can come back and do that. And that's big for her because school has always been first. And so really seeing her sacrifice this part of her life to go into basketball full time and do it professionally is huge, because when she puts her mind to something, she does it. She always gets it done. And so she's just, she's younger than me, but she's always been an inspiration. And so just want to say good luck to all of the WNBA draft prospects, because, unlike other leagues, they don't have as many spots, and it's very competitive. And even if you do get drafted, there's also a slim chance that you don't make the team. But there's a lot of good girls up there who are expecting to go pretty high. And so just keeping the competition up, even virtually. It's insane to think that, these girls won't be able to walk across the stage. They won't, usually after they get drafted, they have to go straight to training. They won't be able to do that. So it's going to be tough, and it's going to be really different, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a heck of a thing she got going there. I mean, it's, I know it's an exciting time. I've been in that space. Tell me about this as a young female athlete. Put yourself in her shoes if you can.
Yeah.
To think about the future, for her, how much brighter it is with the new CBA and her ability to make a living playing the sport she loves.
Yeah, no, I think the new CBA opens doors for every little girl that wants to play in the WNBA. When does it apply? Do you know? I believe it's 2021.
Okay.
For whether you are a college player right now or you're in 8th grade, 5th grade, and you want to play in the WNBA. I remember being very young, wanting to play in the WNBA. And it wasn't because of the money, because as soon as I ever uttered that out of my mouth, my mother reminded me that I'm not going to be getting paid like the WNBA. And it was never because of that. And I don't think it ever will be because of that. I think it's going to be because, their love of the game. And so obviously the opportunities that the new CBA will have, allowing women, allowing these players who have babies to still be paid while they're out on maternity leave, which was not a thing before, will now be in play. Allowing them to take a break from the league, go to back to school, and coming back is now a thing as well. JaVale McGee's sister is actually doing it. She's going to law school. Okay. She was in the league for 4 or 5 years. So this next season, which is actually probably ideal for her because of coronavirus, she is taking a break or step back to go to law school, and she'll be able to come back when she chooses. So obviously we'll have to try out again, but it just creates more opportunities. And, as a minority, whether you are a Black, female, Latina, a lot of these people are foreign, coming to America to play the sport that you love in a premier league and having more opportunities is always a great thing. And so I think that was awesome. And it kind of goes into our key to the drill today.
The key to the drill.
You got to do the little
The key to the drill. Today, our key to the drill is perseverance. And we just want to encourage our listeners with everything going on to continue to elevate, continue to set goals, make plans, and try and execute. Life throws a lot of different things at us all of the time, and a lot of times character is showed based on how you respond. So continue to show great character, persevere, overcome whatever your challenge is, get through it, and then you can help somebody else, get through their story, get through their time. I appreciate both of my sisters, my big sis, for coming out and talking with us. We appreciate you guys for listening. This is another episode of Moses Squared the podcast. Please tune in. Catch us next week. We got a great episode coming. Peace and love.
Don't forget to press like, subscribe, and follow at Dezman, D-E-Z-M-A-N-M.
You can follow me on Instagram at Lauren.Brielle with 2 E's at the end, and on Twitter at Lauren_Brielle with 2 E's at the end. However, to stay updated on everything Moses Squared, follow us on Instagram at Moses Squared Podcast, which is all one word. There, we will be posting everything from sports news to IGTV videos and more. We hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll catch you next time. God bless.
Niggas don't know the truth. Niggas don't know the truth.